Hi everyone. Just because we're running a little bit out of time and I want to make the most of the classes that we have left, I thought of creating this video for you on the poem that we're still missing. So hopefully you'll find it useful. So Digging is an is a poem written by Heaney. Different to other poems that we've read so far is that this poem doesn't have any specific cultural or historical events as such explained, as we've seen in Summer 1969, Two Lorries, and The Requiem for the Croppies. But this one, it has more to do with his own personal past. Okay, so it's quite interesting how he compares what he does to what his family did in the past. So first of all, let's have a look at the first two lines. Okay, remember before you actually listen to this, you should probably read the poem alone, but I know you're not going to do that, so I may as well just get started. So in lines 2, we can see a simile where it says, "Between my fingers and my thumb, the squat pen rests, snug as a gun." Now, snug has a definition of something that's a sense of safety, okay, something that's secure, and yet the squat pen rests snug, so safe, tight, secure as a gun. So here it's a simile. Okay, we're using a simile here to express the way that he's holding a pen, and yet he puts the word a violent word, a gun. So there's a bit of an irony here that we don't understand yet. So there's something ironic about snug as a gun and the pen, the way that he holds the pen. Okay, so there's a contrast from the very beginning of the poem. So as we go on, a lot of what's you will find in this poem is there's lots and lots of sounds. Okay, so oral imagery plays an important role, and also helped with the different alliterations that we will see. Okay, so for example, if we look at the line 3 where we have an oral imagery, a clean rasping sound. Okay, so this is this type of sound that you hear in imagine him actually digging with a spade, and that sound of the spade going into the ground and scraping the dirt. Okay, so a clean rasping sound has also a bit of contrast because it's clean and yet it's rasping, so there's a bit of a contrast, so something's going on here that we don't understand quite well. Then when the spade sinks into gravelly ground. Spade sinks, gravelly ground. Spade, look at the alliteration of spade sinks, okay? And gravelly ground, again. This is the sound of the spade, of what you hear. The spade, the S sound is a clean sound, and the rasping is the G sound, the G. So again, oral imagery plays an important role in this poem, trying to get the reader into the place, trying to get you to imagine you are in the middle of a field. The choice of words, the diction that we have in this text is quite specific. It's specific jargon that has to do with those of digging, that has to do with farm work, such as spade, flower beds, potato drills, lug, shaft, rooted, turf, sods. All of these expressions, all of these words have something specific about the whole idea of farming and digging and planting, that type of things. And then look at line 6. Remember, my father is, so this poem is about his father, okay? I look down till his straining rump among the flower beds. Till his straining rump is a figurative language, is an expression to mean that if you're straining your rump, it means that you're working extremely hard, so you're bent over working hard, in this case, among the flower beds. Comes up 20 years away. So he's probably a retired man now. He's tending the flowers, doing a bit of gardening, and comes up 20 years away, stooping in rhythm through potato drills where he was digging. So it's like his father goes back, has a flashback of 20 years ago when he would be digging, he would be planting the potatoes. Remember that Seamus Heaney is an Irish author, so it's interesting how of all the vegetables that are mentioned, they mention potatoes. So it's remember that the potato famine was an important issue in the Irish culture. If you don't know it, I suggest you Google it. I know you're going to Wikipedia it, but you may as well Google it, see if you can find a little bit something more than Wikipedia. In lines, again, lines 10, we have, again, a specific vocabulary that has to do with farming, log, shaft, rooted, okay, really placing us in the sense of the man, this writer actually the voice knows what he's talking about. The use of specific jargon that has to do with the profession means that you're either in the profession or you are associated somehow. So he's trying to show that he also belongs to this important generation of farmers. Yet we know that he doesn't have what rests in his thumb is a pen, not a spade. So I'm just bringing forward something that you should be thinking about whence to come. So we have here again, so we have, by God, the old man could handle a spade, just like his old man. So the figurative language by God is used to emphasize his feelings, like, oh my God, wow, this old man could handle a spade. This man could really work the land, just like his old man, just like his ancestors. Okay, and again, another expression to mention, the family. So we have a family tradition here of the grandfather, the father, planting to survive. So there's a generation of farmers here. Okay, so now here we have it's like even a further flashback about his grandfather, how he would cut the turf in a day. The Toners Bog, we know the bog is specific of Irish landscape, you know, that boggy, muddy type of landscape that's typical of Ireland. Okay, and then look at the way that the enjambment in 20 and 21, what it suggests. Okay, so once I carried him milk in a bottle. So he, you know, when the voice was younger, he would take milk to his grandfather. And what would happen? The grandfather would he straightened up to drink it, then fell right away, nicking and slicing neatly. So he stopped for a second, but continued. Okay, the enjambment here, remember, enjambment is used to join two aspects. So the whole idea of this continuing, of not stopping work, of continuing from generation to generation, is what's emphasized in this extract specifically. All right, in line 23, we have over his shoulder going down and down for the good turf. So not only did he continue, but he even made more of an effort. So the repetition here is emphasizing the hard work that he's actually going through. In lines 25, we have a very strong visual imagery saying the cold smell of potato mold. This is not visual imagery, it's sensory imagery, because it's trying to relate our senses. So you feel the cold, wet smell of the potatoes. All right, again, potatoes are very important. It's a very important vegetable in the Irish culture. And the fact that this is the smell that is trying to create onto the reader. The squelch and the slap, the use of an onomatopoeia, you hear it. So in line 25, our senses are activated. We see it, we feel it, we smell it, we hear it. So our senses are all, you know, awakened to this situation. The squelch and slap of soggy peat, the curt cuts of an edge. So again, the alliteration, the squelch, slap, cuts, it's a sound of the men digging. Okay, it's a sound that they hear. And then look at line 28. But I've no spade to follow men like them. He feels here like he's the black sheep of the family. He is not worthy of, you know, being part of this. I've no spade to follow men like them. So he believes that he doesn't belong to his family. He's not following. You know, it's a moment of reflection. We have a full stop. We have the end of a stanza. So here it's very significant, because something has happened here. He's realizing that, you know, he's come from great generations of men who would work hard every day to make a difference to feed their family, but he can't follow them. So in line 29, 30 and 31, between my fingers and my thumb, the squat pen rests. I'll dig with it. So what is he saying? The squat pen rest is that, what does he have in his hand? He doesn't have a spade. He has a pen. So what is he going to do with the pen? He's going to dig with it. So he can't follow his family's footsteps, but he's still going to work hard. So I'll dig with it. He's going to follow in the footsteps of his family in a different manner. Okay, and this last stanza circles back to the beginning when we want to, if you compare the first two lines, it says, between my finger and my thumb, the squat pens rest, snug as a gun. So this sense of violence is no longer at the end. He's accepted that he's going to be different from his family, but you can see how it actually he still feels part of something.